Baldur's Gate 3 has well over 600 spells and spell effects, and in this video series I will be ranking the top 10 spells for each and every spell level, so make sure you leave me a like and you're subscribed so you don't miss an episode. This video serves as a consolidation of the leveled spell ranking videos I have done to date, in one place for your convenience, and as such includes the top 10 spells for Cantrips, level 1, level 2 and level 3. The level 4 to 6 rankings will be live very soon, and I hope to see you there. Now with that out of the way, let's get nerdy. Starting the cantrip ranking off at number 10 is Firebolt. The Firebolt cantrip allows spellcasters such as wizards, sorcerers, arcane tricksters and the Eldritch Knight Fighter to conjure and shoot a bolt of fire at a target within range. Firebolt is an attack roll cantrip, requiring a standard action to cast and has an effective range of 60 feet. On a successful hit, it deals 1d10 fire damage, being one of the largest cantrip damage die in BG3. Fire damage, however, is a somewhat commonly resisted elemental damage type, especially at higher levels of play. In order to determine if a firebolt hits the target, the caster makes a ranged spell attack roll, adding their spell attack bonus to the result, and if this is higher than the target's armor class or AC, the bolt finds its mark, setting anything flammable ablaze, adding some tactical and utility options for creative players. The damage dealt by a firebolt also increases as the caster gains levels, adding a further d10 at level 5 and 11, making it more potent as characters progress. Firebolt is a versatile and widely chosen cantrip for spellcasters, providing a powerful at-will range damage option throughout their adventures. Its simplicity and effectiveness makes it an iconic choice for those who seek to wield the primal force of fire in their magical arsenal. In 9th place is Mage Hand. Mage Hand is mostly a utility cantrip and is available to bards, sorcerers, warlocks and wizards, as well as Eldritch Knight Fighters and arcane trickster rogues, and conjures a spectral incorporeal hand at will. This magical hand serves as an unseen and immaterial extension of the caster's own hand, granting them the ability to manipulate and interact with objects from a distance. Mage Hand requires an action to cast, has a range of 60 feet allowing casters to interact and manipulate objects within that range, and lasts for 10 turns before dissipating. It appears as an intangible, shimmering and ghostly hand and hovers in the air, under the caster's control. The Mage Hand can perform simple tasks that human hands could, such as picking up objects, opening doors, pushing buttons or turning keys. Arcane trickster rogues get a special version of Mage Hand, capable of lockpicking chests from a safe distance, stealing items off of unsuspecting marks, all whilst being completely invisible. While the Mage Hand can perform various actions, it has limited strengths and cannot exert forces beyond a few pounds. The Mage Hand cantrip provides spellcasters with a versatile tool for various solutions. It is often used to interact with objects from a safe distance, trigger traps cautiously, or carry out subtle actions in stealthy scenarios. Whether it's assisting in exploration or solving puzzles, the Mage Hand cantrip offers creative solutions and adds depth to spellcasters' repertoire of magical abilities. Finding its place at 8th on the ranking is Shillelagh. In BG3, Shillelagh is only available to druids and magically empowers a wooden club or quarterstaff, transforming it into a potent magical weapon for the duration of the spell. Shillelagh requires the caster to touch a wooden club or quarterstaff as they invoke the spell. The weapon glows with a faint green light signifying magical enchantment. Once cast, the effective club or quarterstaff becomes a magical weapon for the duration of the spell, and this means the weapon's attacks use the spellcaster's spellcasting ability modifier, such as the wisdom for the druid, instead of the usual strength or dexterity modifier. The weapon's damage type changes to magical bludgeoning for the duration of the spell, granting the caster the ability to bypass resistances and immunities to non-magical attacks. Shillelagh's effects last for 10 rounds, unless the caster fails to maintain concentration, allowing druids who might not rely on traditional weaponry to have a viable melee option in combat. The Shillelagh cantrip exemplifies the druidic connection to nature's magic and provides an alternative combat option for spellcasters who wish to engage in close quarter combat with a magically empowered wooden weapon. It also adds a touch of thematic flavor to characters who embrace the wilderness and natural world in their adventures. In at 7th place is Vicious Mockery. Vicious Mockery is a bard exclusive cantrip. It is a powerful, unique spell that allows bards to unleash cutting insults and taunts upon its target to deal psychic damage and impose disadvantage on their next attack. The spell deals psychic damage, which represents the emotional harm inflicted by the bard's biting words. The damage also scales with the bard's level, making it more potent as they advance. A successful hit with Vicious Mockery imposes disadvantage on the target's next attack roll. The verbal assault weakened the target's resolve and concentration, affecting their combat effectiveness. Vicious Mockery has a casting range of 60 feet, requiring the target to be within hearing distance of the bard. In order to resist the effects of Vicious Mockery, the target must make a wisdom saving throw. A successful save reduces the damage and avoids the disadvantage effect. Vicious Mockery is not only a powerful combat cantrip, but also provides great role-playing opportunities for bards to engage in witty banter and taunting during encounters. The spell's unique blend of damage and crowd control effects make it a popular choice for bards looking to contribute both offensively and be creative in combat. The ability to inflict damage with words alone is a testament to the bard's skill in using the power of music and performance to weave magic on the battlefield. 6th place in the ranking goes to Ray of Frost. Ray of Frost can be selected by sorcerers and wizards, as well as Eldritch Knight fighters and arcane trickster rogues. Casting the spell shoots a frigid beam of ice at a target within range. It is a damaging cantrip that harnesses the power of cold to deal damage and provide additional effects. Ray of Frost deals 1d8 cold damage, which is a common elemental damage type. However, cold damage is not as commonly resisted as fire, although it does become less reliable at high levels of play. To determine if the Ray of Frost hits the target, the caster makes a ranged spell attack roll, adding their spell attack bonus to the result. The total is then compared to the target's armor class, and if it meets or beats it, it hits. One of the unique effects of Ray of Frost is the ability to reduce the speed of the creature it hits. On a successful hit, the target's speed is reduced until the start of the character's next turn by 10 feet. As most cantrips, damage dealt scales with level, and as such, Ray of Frost increases as the caster gains experience, adding a further 1d8 at levels 5 and level 11. In BG3, Ray of Frost can also be cast on liquid surfaces, freezing them instantly, making it difficult terrain, halving movement speed on the ice surface, and adds a chance for enemies to slip and fall prone, ending their turn. The Ray of Frost cantrip provides spellcasters with a versatile offensive option that deals cold damage and can potentially slow down enemies, making it valuable in both combat and exploration scenarios. With its freezing powers, Ray of Frost allows casters to wield the chilling essence of ice and snow as a potent weapon in their magical repertoire. 5th place overall goes to Minor Illusion. Minor Illusion allows bards, sorcerers, warlocks, wizards, Eldritch Knight fighters, and arcane trickster rogues to create a minor illusionary sensory effect within range that distracts enemies as they gather to inspect the conjured effect. The spell creates a minor and relatively simple illusion that can either be a sound or an image. The illusion is static and cannot move or change dynamically. The minor illusion cantrip lasts for 10 rounds, providing a limited but useful time frame for the illusion to be maintained. While the illusion is not physically real, creatures that fail an intelligence investigation check will proceed to investigate. The main use of Minor Illusion in BG3 is to either get a number of enemies together before starting combat in order to drop an AoE spell on them, or to distract enemies in order to sneak past them unseen. The Minor Illusion cantrip provides creative players with a versatile tool to manipulate the perceptions of others, creating additional avenues of approach. If you like playing chess, this is the cantrip for you. One spot shy of the podium at number 4 is Thorn Whip. Thorn Whip is only available to bards and allows them to summon a vine-like whip covered in thorns and lash out at a creature within range. The spell harnesses the power of nature to deal damage and potentially move the target closer to the caster. Thorn Whip requires an action to cast, with the druid making an attack roll to determine if the whip finds its target successfully. The spell deals 1d6 piercing damage, which is a physical non-magical damage type. Thorn Whip has an effective range of 30 feet, and if the spell attack hits, the vine-like whip wraps around the target, and the caster can choose to pull the creature up to 10 feet closer, providing the target is large or smaller in size. Extremely useful for repositioning enemies or allies during combat. The 1d6 piercing damage dealt by Thorn Whip increases as the caster gains levels, improving to 2d6 at level 5 and 3d6 at level 11, making it more potent as the character progresses. The Thorn Whip cantrip showcases the druid's connection to nature and its ability to wield these elements in combat, lashing out at foes from a distance, dealing damage and manipulating the battlefield to their advantage. With its versatility, Thorn Whip is a favored choice for druids seeking to embrace their primal roots and utilize the forces of nature in their magical arsenal. Breaking into the top 3 is Chill Touch. The Chill Touch cantrip is typically available to sorcerers, warlocks, wizards, Eldritch Knight fighters and arcane trickster rogues. Despite its name, the spell does not deal cold damage, like one would expect, but instead it harnesses negative energy to deal necrotic damage and has additional effects against undead creatures. Despite what the name would imply, Chill Touch is also not a touch spell. It has an effective range of 60 feet and requires an action to cast, with the caster making an attack roll to determine its success. The spell deals 1d6 necrotic damage, which represents the draining of the life force or negative energy, which is one of the more reliable damage types, with fewer enemies having resistances or immunities to its effects. Against undead creatures, Chill Touch has a unique secondary effect, imposing disadvantage to their attack rolls until the start of the caster's next turn, representing the necrotic energy's unsettling effect on the undead creature. Damage dealt by Chill Touch increases by an additional d6 at level 5 and level 11. The Chill Touch cantrip showcases the darker and necromantic side of magic, as spellcasters channel negative energy to harm their enemies and manipulate undead creatures. With its unique interaction against undead foes, Chill Touch is a favored choice for those who embrace the darker arts and seek to wield the power of necromancy in their magical repertoire. Just shy of the number 1 spot in second place is Guidance. In BG3, the Guidance cantrip is primarily associated with clerics and druids. It's a buffing cantrip that allows the caster to touch a willing creature and grant them a supernatural guidance, enhancing their ability in certain situations. Guidance requires an action to cast, with the caster touching a willing creature, adding a d4 to one ability check of their choice. This means they roll an additional 4-sided die and add the result to their next ability check result, potentially improving the chances of success. The recipient can choose when to use the d4 bonus during the spell's duration of 1 minute or 10 turns, making it a versatile cantrip that can be applied to various situations, such as skill checks, saving throws, or even attack rolls. The spammable nature of Guidance means that outside of combat, characters are proficient in every skill in the game, improving their chances of success while interacting with the game world and NPCs. Guidance showcases the spellcaster's ability to provide divine assistance or Mother Nature's grace to their companions. By bestowing this magical boon, spellcasters can aid their allies in crucial moments, offering a small but significant advantage in overcoming challenges and obstacles. Whether it's aiding in a lockpicking attempt, bolstering a friend's resolve against fear, or helping them navigate through treacherous terrain, the Guidance cantrip exemplifies the supportive characteristics of divine and nature magic. And the number one gaming analytics Baldur's Gate 3 cantrip is Eldritch Blast. Eldritch Blast is the signature and most iconic spell for Warlock characters, offering a potent and versatile offensive option. The casting of Eldritch Blast requires an attack roll to be made against an enemy target within 60 feet and uses a standard action to do so. The spell deals 1d10 force damage, which is a powerful and generally very rarely resisted damage type. It bypasses most resistances and immunities, making it effective against a wide range of creatures. At levels 5 and 11, the caster gains the ability to cast 2 and then 3 beams with a single casting of Eldritch Blast. Each beam is treated as a separate attack, allowing the Warlock to hit multiple targets or focus their fire on a single foe. What really separates Eldritch Blast from other cantrips on this list is the invocations that Warlocks can choose to modify and enhance Eldritch Blast, such as adding one's Charisma modifier when inflicting damage for each beam with Agonizing Blast, or the ability to push an enemy 15 feet with each hit with Repelling Blast. The Eldritch Blast cantrip embodies the Warlock's pact with otherworldly entities, granting them the ability to channel Eldritch powers as a deadly force. It is a versatile and iconic spell, often shaping the playstyle and character concept of Warlocks, who become formidable wielders of this destructive and darkly alluring spell. Starting the level 1 spell ranking off at number 10 is Hunter's Mark. Hunter's Mark is a commonly used ranger spell to enhance their powers in hunting and combat. While cast as a bonus action, the ranger chooses a target that they can see within range, marking it as their prey until they finish a long rest. The spell's effect grants the ranger several benefits in dealing with that particular target. Firstly, whenever the ranger hits the marked target with a weapon attack, they deal extra damage in the form of an additional 1d6 of damage. Also, the ranger gains advantage on Wisdom Perception or Wisdom Survival checks to locate or track marked targets, as well as on Wisdom Survival or Intelligent Investigation checks made to learn information about the target. Hunter's Mark is a concentration spell, meaning it requires the ranger's ongoing focus to maintain its effects. However, it allows the ranger to focus their combat powers on a specific foe, making them more effective in pursuing their prey or dealing with particularly challenging adversaries. The spell's versatility and synergy with other ranger abilities make it a go-to choice for many ranger characters in Baldur's Gate 3. In 9th place is Hex. Hex is a classic Warlock exclusive spell used to inflict a powerful curse upon their enemies. When cast as a bonus action, the Warlock selects a creature they can see within range, placing a malevolent hex upon it. The spell's effect grants the Warlock several advantages when dealing with the hex target. Once the hex is cast, the target suffers an additional 1d6 necrotic damage whenever the Warlock hits it with an attack, as well as has disadvantage on ability checks for one ability of their choosing. Furthermore, if the hex target drops to 0 hit points during the spell's duration, the Warlock can use a bonus action on a subsequent turn to move the hex to a new target, maintaining its curse. Hex is a concentration spell, necessitating the Warlock's ongoing focus to retain its effects. The spell's versatility makes it a formidable choice for the Warlock, enabling them to focus their malefic powers on specific foes and dealing substantial damage over time. Combining Hex with various Warlock abilities and invocations creates a deadly synergy, making the spell a staple for many Warlock characters. Finding its place at 8th on the ranking is Armor of Agathys. Armor of Agathys is another Warlock exclusive spell, and it is used to bolster their defenses and inflict icy retribution on attackers. When cast, the Warlock is surrounded by a protective magical frost that grants them temporary hit points and deals damage to creatures that hit them with melee attacks. The spell grants the Warlock a protective barrier of temporary hit points, which scales with higher spell slot levels, providing a buffer against incoming damage, making it a great spell to protect one's concentration and a premier choice for Gish characters taking a multi-class dip into Warlock. Additionally, any creature that hits the Warlock with a melee attack while the spell is active takes 5 cold damage. This icy retaliation serves as a powerful deterrent to melee foes, discouraging them from attacking the Warlock in close combat. After casting Armor of Agathys, it stays in effect until a long rest, making it ideal for both short skirmishes and longer adventuring days. The spell also scales extremely well, and definitely one of the few good spell options for upcasting. Armor of Agathys' combination of temporary hit points and damaging effects against attackers makes it a favoured spell for Warlocks looking to enhance their defensive capabilities and punish their enemies who dare to engage with them in physical combat. In at 7th place is Faerie. Revivify is a bard, druid and ranger spell and provides spellcasters a tactical advantage in combat. When cast, the area becomes bathed in a pale glowing light, and creatures within the spell's range must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or suffer the consequences. The spell has a range of 60 feet and affects all creatures in a 20-foot radius, outlining them in radiant colored light for 10 turns. The affected creatures emit a dim light that provides 2 significant benefits. Firstly, the outlined creatures can no longer benefit from invisibility, as their glowing figures make them easily visible, negating any attempts to hide or use invisibility-based tactics. Secondly, the Faerie glow grants attackers an advantage when trying to hit the affected creature with an attack roll. This effect applies as long as the spell is active or until the creature moves out of the spell's area of effect, making them easier targets for the duration of the spell. Faerie is particularly useful in battles against elusive or hidden enemies, as it can expose hidden foes and enable the caster's allies to strike them more effectively. Its tactical versatility and ability to neutralize invisibility effects makes it a popular choice for bards, druids and rangers who want to control the battlefield and support their allies. 6th place in the ranking goes to Magic Missile. Magic Missile is renowned for its consistency and effectiveness in combat, and available to sorcerers and wizards. When cast, the spell creates 3 shimmering dart-like missiles of pure magical force, each targeting a separate creature or all directed at a single target. The beauty of Magic Missile lies in its reliability. Unlike other spells that require attack rolls, Magic Missile never misses its mark, automatically hitting its intended target without fail. Due to this unfailing accuracy and force damage that it inflicts, it makes it an excellent choice when facing elusive or heavily armored foes, ensuring that damage is dealt consistently. Magic Missile has a range of 60 feet, and the damage dealt is relatively modest, starting at 1d4+1 force damage per missile, but it increases as the spell is cast using higher level spell slots. For instance, casting Magic Missile using a 2nd level spell slot produces 4 missiles, and a 3rd level slot generates 5 missiles, and so on, significantly increasing the damage potential. Due to its consistent damage output and its ability to bypass most defenses, Magic Missile is a staple spell for many spellcasters, particularly at lower levels. Its reliability, efficiency and versatility serving as both a reliable source of damage and a handy tool to take down specific targets with precision, making it a beloved and essential spell in the arsenal of many spellcasters in Baldur's Gate 3. 5th place overall goes to Dissonant Whispers. Dissonant Whispers is often chosen by characters to exploit the fears and vulnerabilities of their enemies, and available to bards and the Great Old One's warlock subclass. When cast, the mage utters haunting dissonant words, sending a surge of psychic damage into the minds of a single creature that they can see within range. A target within 60 feet must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, it takes 3d6 psychic damage and becomes frightened for 2 turns, freezing them in place, unable to move, and suffers disadvantage on all ability checks and attack rolls. Dissonant Whisper's psychological impact is significant, making it particularly effective against lone enemies or creatures who are isolated from their allies. The spell's damage increases with higher level spell slots, adding a further 1d6 for every spell slot level it is upcast with. With its ability to exploit enemy positioning and provoke strategic opportunities, Dissonant Whispers is a valuable spell for those seeking to control the battlefield and deal damage from a distance. Its blend of psychological manipulation and a very reliable damage type makes it a staple for many bard characters. And coming in at 4th, one spot shy of the podium, is Sleep. A standout choice for bards, sorcerers and wizards, especially at lower levels of play. Sleep is known for its ability to incapacitate and control entire groups of enemies. When cast, the spellcaster sends magical slumber into the minds of creatures within a 20-foot radius, centered on a point they choose within 60 feet. Starting with the creature with the lowest current hit points, Sleep affects creatures in ascending order until the total hit points of creatures affected reaches a maximum of 24 hit points. Creatures with lower hit points are affected first, putting them to sleep before reaching the creatures with higher hit points. Sleep can also be upcast, adding a further 8 hit points for every spell slot used above level 1. Sleep can be a game changer in the early stages of an adventure, especially against groups of lower hit point creatures. It can create opportunities for parties to gain the upper hand, providing valuable time to eliminate enemies or escape entirely from danger. However, it becomes less effective against stronger creatures, as they have high hit point pools. Nevertheless, Sleep remains a tactical and strategic spell for both low and high level play, and its potential crowd control makes it a favored choice for many spellcasters. In at number 3 is Healing Word. Available to the Bard, Cleric, Druid, Paladin and Ranger, Healing Word is often employed to rapidly heal and support their allies during combats or other critical moments. When cast as a bonus action, the caster uses soothing words infused with magical energy to heal creatures they can see within 60 feet. The targeted creature immediately regains hit points equal to 1d4 plus the spellcaster's spellcasting modifier at first level, and increases by a further 1d4 for every spell slot used above level 1. The beauty of Healing Word lies in its efficiency and flexibility. It allows spellcasters to both heal their enemies and perform other actions on their turn. Healing Word is also very useful to bring downed enemies back up and into the fight, whilst the spellcaster remains at a safe distance from the front lines. This spell is invaluable for reviving fallen comrades and keeping the party in fighting shape during intense encounters. Its quick casting time and ranged healing capability make it a staple for support-oriented characters. As spellcasters level up, Healing Word remains a reliable and essential healing spell, ensuring the party's survival and success in their adventures. The second best Baldur's Gate 3 spell is Bless. Bless is available to clerics and paladins and is highly regarded for its supportive and enhancing capabilities. When cast, the spell imbues up to 3 willing creatures of the caster's choosing. It can see within 30 feet with divine favor for 10 rounds. The blessed targets gain a d4 bonus to their attack rolls and saving throws for the duration of the spell, which can significantly improve their chances of success in combat or when resisting harmful effects. Bless is extremely useful for bolstering the effectiveness of melee-focused characters, ranged attackers and spellcasters alike. With its concentration duration, Bless requires the caster's ongoing focus to maintain its effects, but its versatility makes a powerful asset in various encounters. As the spellcaster gains levels, Bless remains effective by affecting more and more targets when upcast, making it a potent choice for both low and high level play. Bless encourages teamwork and enhances the party's overall performance, ensuring they stand a better chance against formidable foes and challenging situations. Due to its valuable supportive nature, Bless is a popular spell choice for clerics and paladins seeking to provide significant buffs to their allies. And my absolute favorite level 1 spell for BG3 is Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Available to the Bard and Wizard, Tasha's Hideous Laughter is a spell that embodies the mischievous and humorous nature of Baldur's Gate 3 and more broadly Dungeons & Dragons as a whole. And in essence, when cast, the spellcaster tells a target within 60 feet the funniest yo mama joke that he's ever heard, compelling the creature to succumb to uncontrollable laughter. Only affecting creatures with an intelligence score of 5 or more, the target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or fall prone, incapacitated by fits of laughter for 10 turns. This means the affected target is unable to move or act, and in addition to having that, disadvantage on all strength and dexterity saving throws. Also, all attacks on prone creatures has advantage. The spell's effects last for the spell duration or until the target successfully saves against it. Additionally, the target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of their turns or every time they take damage, ending the effect on a successful save. The consequences of failing a save and being affected by Tasha's Hideous Laughter is so severe that it makes for a great and cheap way to burn through legendary creature resistances or shutting down the biggest baddest baddie in an encounter, likely shifting the odds in your favor. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is excellent for crowd control and disrupting enemy actions. Incapacitating an opponent through laughter can render them harmless in combat, providing valuable time for the spellcaster's allies to focus on other threats or escape the dangerous situation altogether. Looking through the player's handbook, there are a couple of other spells not currently in the game, but would have made this top 10 if they were. These are Shield and Detect Magic. The Shield spell is a defensive magic spell, designed to protect the caster from incoming attacks and increase their survivability. When a character casts Shield, it creates a magical barrier around them and lasts until the start of their next turn. This spell provides a +5 bonus to the caster's AC armor class, which represents how difficult it is for enemies to land a successful attack on them. This is the equivalent of wearing one of the best sets of armor in the game whilst having a shield equipped simultaneously. The bonus can be a game changer, especially in critical situations where the caster's AC is insufficient to fend off an imminent attack. It is also one of the only ways to avoid damage from the magic missile spell, which is a guaranteed hit in all other circumstances. The spell's versatility lies in its reactive nature. It can be cast with a reaction when the caster is targeted by a ranged or melee attack or a magic missile spell. By using Shield, the character gains a momentary boost in their defenses, potentially turning a hit into a miss, avoiding damage, or maybe dying altogether. Last but not least, let's have a quick look at the Detect Magic spell. An easy and accessible utility choice for bards, clerics, druids, paladins, rangers, sorcerers, and wizards, the Detect Magic spell allows characters to sense the presence of magical auras and identify magical items or areas within their vicinity. Casters using Detect Magic can gain an invaluable insight into the mystical world around them. When a character casts Detect Magic, they enter a state of heightened perception, able to see faint auras emanating from magical objects or areas within a 30-foot range. The spell can detect the school of magic associated with each aura, providing clues about the nature and its potential effects. The spell is particularly useful for identifying magical traps, enchanted items, hidden portals, or even illusions. It allows characters to make a more informed decision about the next course of action, aiding them in avoiding potential dangers and/or exploiting magical advantages. While Detect Magic excels at uncovering magical secrets, it does not provide specific details about the exact spell or effect in place, nor does it grant the ability to dispel enchantments. For a more in-depth analysis or dispelling magic, other spells like Identify or Dispel Magic are required. Detect Magic is a valuable tool for spellcasters and their troupe who seek to unravel the mysteries of the magical world and navigate it more safely. Its utility extends beyond combat, making it an essential part of any well-rounded party's magical arsenal. Starting the level 2 spell ranking off at number 10 is Flameblade. Flameblade is a bonus action evocation spell and available to druids. When cast, the spell creates a fiery blade of pure radiance that the caster can wield as a melee weapon. The blade takes the shape of a scimitar with the length and appearance reminiscent of a burning blade. The spell's caster can control the blade with their movements, allowing them to make a melee attack using their spellcasting ability instead of strength or dexterity. When the flame blade strikes a target, it inflicts 3d6 fire damage, providing a potent and thematic option for spellcasters in close combat situations. The blade's power increases with spell level, dealing 1d6 fire damage with every spell level it is upcast with. After the cast, Flame Blade lasts for a whole adventuring day, or as long as the caster maintains their concentration during that period. It's a great thematic pick for druids who appreciate the elemental theme of the spell and the versatility it offers in various situations. It allows spellcasters to become formidable melee combatants, infusing their strikes with searing flames to vanquish foes and adapt to different encounters. In 9th place on this ranking is Cloud of Daggers. Cloud of Daggers is a conjuration spell available to the Bard, Sorcerer, Warlock and Wizard, and when cast it creates a radius of 7 feet with a range of 60 feet enveloped in a whirling and shimmering cloud of spinning daggers, causing damage to any creature that starts its turn or enters the cloud for the first time on that turn. The daggers inside the cloud inflict 4d4 slashing damage, and the intensity of the damage increases when upcast. The spell's nature makes it particularly effective against creatures that rely on movement or positioning, as they will suffer damage if they pass through the hazardous area. The cloud remains stationary after casting and cannot be moved, providing an area of control and discouraging enemy advancement. The spell requires concentration to be maintained and its duration lasts for 10 turns. Cloud of Daggers is a popular choice for spellcasters looking for an effective crowd control option, especially in tight or confined spaces. Finding its place at 8th on the ranking is Scorching Ray. Scorching Ray is an evocation spell available to the Sorcerer, Wizard, Light Domain Cleric and Fiend Warlock, and when cast creates 3 fiery rays of intense heat that shoots forth from the caster's outstretched fingertips. Each ray is directed at a separate target or can all be aimed at one target, offering flexibility in targeting enemies. To resolve each ray's attack, the caster makes a ranged spell attack roll against each chosen target within 60 feet. Upon a successful hit, the target is struck by the fiery ray, and the spell inflicts 2d6 fire damage for that ray. In other words, if all 3 rays find their target successfully, the caster does a total of 6d6 fire damage. The damage dealt also increases when upcast, with the spell creating an additional ray for each spell slot used above 2nd level. Scorching Ray can be a devastating spell, especially when multiple rays find their mark. It offers reliable and concentrated damage against enemies, making it an excellent choice for dealing with tougher foes or finishing off multiple weak opponents in a single turn. The spell's effectiveness and versatility makes it a favorite among spellcasters who seek direct damage options. Its fiery nature and visual spectacle also adds to the role-playing appeal, making it a popular choice for those who enjoy playing the pyromaniac character or those who enjoy the thrill of unleashing fiery destruction upon their adversaries. In at lucky number 7 is Hold Person. Hold Person is an enchantment spell available to the Bard, Cleric, Druid, Sorcerer, Warlock and Wizard, and targets one humanoid creature within the range of 60 feet. The spell's purpose is to paralyze the target, temporarily rendering them immobile and incapacitated. To resist the spell's effects, the target must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw. If they fail, they become paralyzed for the duration of the spell, which lasts up to 10 turns. During this time, the creature cannot move or take any actions. All attacks against the paralyzed creature have advantage and they automatically fail strength and dexterity throws. Moreover, any attack that hits the creature while it is paralyzed is considered a critical hit, doubling the hit die for that attack. Hold Person is a potent control spell, invaluable in situations where disabling an enemy can turn the tide of battle in the favor of the caster's allies. The spell's strengths make it a popular choice for spellcasters who wish to hinder enemy actions or focus on single target control. Additionally, the ability to incapacitate an opponent without causing lethal harm can be beneficial in situations where capturing or questioning an enemy is desired. In at 6th place is Aid. Aid is an abjuration spell that bolsters the health and vitality of up to 3 creatures within a 30-foot radius centered on the caster and is available to the Bard, Cleric, Paladin and Ranger. The targeted creatures receive a boost to their maximum hit points for the spell's duration. Upon casting Aid, each target's current and maximum hit points is increased by 5 points, and a further 5 points for each and every spell level above 2nd it is upcast with. The increased points remain until the caster takes a long rest, making Aid an excellent choice for bolstering the party's endurance before a dangerous quest, battle, or arduous journey. As such, Aid is a popular choice as it enhances the survivability of the party and provides a buffer against potential damage. It can also be useful in situations where characters need to endure environmental hazards or traps that deal ongoing damage. Additionally, the spell's long duration ensures that the extra hit points persist throughout the day, granting a substantial advantage in combat and exploration. Number 5 on the list goes to Mirror Image. Mirror Image is an illusion spell and available to the Sorcerer, Wizard, Warlock, Trickery Domain Cleric, and Circle of the Land and Mountain Druid. When cast, it creates illusionary duplicates of the caster that mimics their movements. These illusionary mirror images of the caster appears in the immediate vicinity of the caster and remains until the spell's duration ends or until they are destroyed. These illusionary duplicates provide a significant defensive benefit, increasing the caster's armor class by 3 points for each duplicate image they have, for a total potential duration of 10 turns. When an enemy misses on an attack, one of these duplicates disappear and the armor class buff provided with it. The duplicate's presence make it challenging for enemies to discern the actual location of the caster, increasing the chances of avoiding attacks. Mirror Image's effectiveness relies in its ability to confuse opponents and reduce the likelihood of taking damage. It is especially valuable for casters or characters with lower armor classes who wish to enhance their survivability in combat. Arcane spellcasters often use Mirror Image as a defensive measure, allowing them to concentrate on casting spells while evading attacks. In 4th place overall is Invisibility. Invisibility is from the Illusion School of Magic and available to the Bard, Sorcerer, Warlock and Wizard. Casting it grants the targeted creature the ability to become completely invisible for the spell's duration of 10 turns. The invisible creature is obscured from sight and can move and act without being seen by others. The spell's effect is broken if the invisible creature attacks, casts a spell or performs any other action that would reveal its presence. Additionally, certain spells and effects such as see invisibility or effects that reveal invisible creatures can also see through the illusionary effect. Invisibility is an extremely versatile spell with numerous applications. It can be used for stealth and infiltration, allowing a character to sneak past guards, scout enemy positions, or set up surprise attacks. It is also valuable for escaping dangerous situations or avoiding unwanted attention. Casters and rogues commonly use invisibility to gain a tactical advantage or to enhance their ability to gather information discreetly. However, it requires careful planning and consideration of the potential drawbacks, as attacking while invisible becomes impossible without breaking the spell's effects. Climbing onto the podium in third place is Pass Without Trace. Pass Without Trace is a transmutation spell available to the Trickery Domain Cleric, Druid and Ranger, and cloaks the targeted group of creatures in a veil of magical secrecy, allowing them to move through their surroundings without leaving noticeable tracks or traces. The spell's effects covers a 30-foot radius around the caster, ensuring that everyone within that radius benefits from the effects. While under the influence of Pass Without Trace, the affected creatures gain a +10 bonus to dexterity stealth checks. This significant boost to stealth makes it easy for them to remain hidden and undetected, whether they are sneaking through the wilderness, exploring dangerous areas, or trying to infiltrate enemy territory. The spell's duration lasts until a long rest, or until concentration is broken, providing ample time for the party to capitalize on its benefits. The group can then maintain their quiet and elusive movements, reducing the likelihood of encountering hostile creatures and increasing their chances of ambushing opponents. Pass Without Trace is also a favored spell for characters seeking to avoid unwanted confrontation or maximize their chances of success in situations where stealth and subtlety are paramount. Overall, Pass Without Trace is a valuable tool for enhancing a party's scouting and ambush capabilities, helping them remain in the shadows and avoid unwanted attention. In second place overall is Misty Step. Misty Step is a conjuration spell available to the Circle of the Land Druids, Sorcerers, Warlocks and Wizards, as well as the Oath of the Ancients Paladin. Casting it allows a character to instantaneously teleport to an unoccupied space they can see within 60 feet. The teleportation occurs as a brief misty transformation, where the caster momentarily becomes incorporeal, enveloped in ethereal mist, before reappearing at the chosen destination. Misty Step provides a swift and reliable means of mobility, allowing characters to escape from dangerous situations, reposition strategically in combat, or reach otherwise inaccessible locations. It's especially valuable for characters who lack other forms of teleportation or long-range movement abilities. The spell's casting time is a bonus action, which means it can be cast on the same turn as a regular action or cantrip, granting additional tactical flexibility. The spell's simplicity and long range make it ideal for quick maneuvers and precise teleportation. Misty Step's ability to bypass obstacles, disengage from threatening enemies, and swiftly reach distant allies or objectives makes it a popular choice and widely used spell for adventurers seeking to outmaneuver their foes and make the most of their magical capabilities. And in first place is Spike Growth. Spike Growth is a transmutation spell available to druids and rangers which transforms the ground in a 20-foot radius centered on a point within 60 feet from the caster into a treacherous terrain filled with sharp thorns and spikes. Any creature that moves into or within the area moves at half speed and takes 2d4 damage for every 5 feet of movement through the Spike Growth. Spike Growth is a favored spell for druids and other nature-themed spellcasters who seek to control the battlefield and protect their allies by creating hazardous zones. It can be especially effective when used to block enemy advancement or to funnel foes into a specific area where they can be ambushed or isolated. Clever players might combine Spike Growth with other push and pull spells, forcing enemies to repeatedly move through the affected area and take enormous amounts of damage. Starting the level 3 spell ranking off at number 10 is Revivify. Revivify is a necromancy spell which is available to the cleric and paladin, which allows these casters to bring a recently deceased companion back to life. This spell has a range of 30 feet and also affects a 30 feet radius upon casting, restoring life to creatures, healing any fatal wounds or injuries that caused its death. Revivify offers a chance for parties to revive a fallen ally quickly, keeping the flow of the game dynamic and suspenseful. Revivify's usefulness is somewhat watered down in video game format, as one can simply just load up an earlier save if one or more of the party members bite the big one, and that's why it's not higher up in the ranking. For hardcore players that play the cards they are dealt, this is easily one of the best level 3 spells out there. In 9th place is Core Lightning. Core Lightning is an evocation spell available to the Druid and Tempest Domain Cleric, allowing them to summon the power of nature to call down a bolt of lightning upon their foes. The caster designates a point within 60 feet that becomes the center of a raging storm cloud, covering a radius of 7 feet. On subsequent rounds, as an action, the player can call a bolt of lightning to strike a target within the affected area, dealing 3d10 lightning damage on a failed dexterity saving throw, or half as much on a successful one. This spell offers a potent range damage option and the ability to strike multiple times during its duration, making it effective against groups of enemies. Finding its place at 8th on the ranking is Haste. Haste is from the Transmutation School of Magic, which is available to sorcerers and wizards, and bestows supernatural speed upon a target creature within 30 feet for a duration of 10 rounds. These flash-like powers doubles the target's movement speed, granting them a +2 bonus to armor class, gives them advantage on dexterity saving throws, and they also receive an additional action on each of their turns. However, once the spell effects fade, the hasted creature becomes lethargic. Grab Haste, cast it on your friendly neighborhood barbarian, fighter, paladin or rogue, and get your popcorn ready. Continuing with the lightning vibes at number 7 is Lightning Bolt. From the Evocation School of Magic and available to sorcerers and wizards, it conjures a powerful bolt of lightning that shoots forth in a straight line from the caster's fingertips. This cracking whip of electrical energy deals 8d6 lightning damage to all creatures caught in its path, unless they make a successful dexterity saving throw to take half damage instead. While it lacks the versatility of spells with additional effects, its pure damage potential can be devastating, especially against creatures vulnerable to lightning damage, or perhaps standing in a pool of water or blood. In 6th place overall from the Conjuration School of Magic is Spirit Guardians, a cleric exclusive spell allowing them to call forth protective spirits that surround them in a 15-foot radius. These spirits, you guessed it, guard the caster for 10 turns, halving the speed of any hostile creatures that enter or start their turn within the spell area, as well as dealing a very respectable 3d8 damage to boot. The damage is radiant or necrotic, forcing the affected creatures to make wisdom saving throws, halving the damage on a successful save. Spirit Guardians is great, as it serves both as an offensive and defensive spell. It not only deals consistent damage to nearby enemies, but it also can deter foes from entering the area due to the potential harm they face. 5th place overall goes to Mass Healing Word. Mass Healing Word is an evocation spell available to the Bard and Cleric, allowing them to utter a healing word that radiates out and restores hit points to a maximum of 6 allies within a 60-foot radius centered on the caster. The spell instantly heals a small amount of hit points equal to 1d4 plus the caster's spellcasting ability modifier. Unlike regular Healing Word, this spell targets multiple creatures simultaneously, making it a valuable option for quickly restoring the health of multiple party members during combat or in dire situations. Its relatively low level requirement and bonus action casting time make it a strategic choice for healers, ensuring they can still use their action for something else in the same turn. One spot shy of the podium at number 4 is the transmutation spell Grant Flight. Available to the Warlock, Sorcerer and Wizard, it grants the ability of flight to a creature for a duration of 10 turns. As such, the target gains a flying speed equal to their walking speed, allowing them to hover, ascend and descend freely in the air. Flight is a versatile ability that offers mobility and advantages both in and out of combat, allowing characters to bypass obstacles, engage enemies from advantageous positions, and explore environments from a different perspective. Casters can also use it to rescue allies from hazardous situations or reach otherwise inaccessible areas. The spell's limitations, such as the concentration requirement and the risk of falling if concentration is broken, adds an element of challenge and tactical consideration. Breaking its way into the top 3 is Hypnotic Pattern. Hypnotic Pattern is an illusion spell which, when cast, creates a twisting pattern of colors, shapes and lights in a 30-foot radius within a maximum effective range of 60 feet, and available to the Bard, Sorcerer, Warlock and Wizard classes. Creatures within the area that fail a Wisdom saving throw are hypnotized, becoming mesmerized by the pattern and can't move or take actions, bonus actions or reactions. The spell ends if they take damage or if someone uses an action to shake them out of their trance. Hypnotic Pattern is a potent crowd control spell that can incapacitate multiple enemies, effectively removing them from a combat situation for its duration. Hypnotic Pattern showcases the Illusion School's ability to manipulate perception and create effects that have a powerful impact on the course of an encounter. In at second place, coming from the Abjuration School of Magic and available to Sorcerers, Warlocks and Wizards, is Counterspell. Counterspell allows a spellcaster to attempt to interrupt and negate the casting of another spell. When an opponent within 60 feet begins casting a spell, the caster of Counterspell can use their reaction and expend a 3rd level spell slot, instantly interrupting the spell being cast, causing it to have no effect. When attempting to counterspell a spell cast with a spell slot above 3rd level, the odds of successfully negating its effects decrease. This means to guarantee a successful counterspell, your character needs to cast the counterspell at the same level or higher than the spell being counterspelled. Counterspell provides a powerful defensive tool against enemy spellcasters, giving players a chance to foil potential dangerous spells before they take effect. It introduces an element of strategy and tension into magical combat, as both sides must consider the possibility of their spells being countered. And at number 1, the quintessential spell known for its explosive and destructive power is Fireball. Available to the Sorcerer, Wizard, Light Domain Cleric and Fiend Warlock, when cast it creates a bright streak and an explosive burst of flame in a 20-foot radius sphere centered at a point the caster can see within 60 feet. Creatures caught within the area must make a dexterity saving throw. Those who fail it take 8d6 fire damage, while those who succeed take half damage, and its damage increases with 1d6 for every spell slot used above 3rd level. Fireball is prized for its ability to deal substantial damage across an area. Its large radius and high damage potential can clear groups of weaker enemies, weakening or eliminating them in a single powerful blast. It also sets everything flammable alight, so pair this with another AoE spell like Grease for maximum carnage. And that's going to be it, the consolidated list for cantrips up until level 3 spells. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you did get anything out of this video, please consider leaving a like or perhaps subscribing to the channel. I hope to see you again soon.